Flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free. I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free. I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98.
Live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Real America's Voice. Glad you're in. Slick Rick in the navy blue tonight. It's going to do sports. Slickster, how are you?
I'm doing good, Big D. How are we doing?
Very good. Very good. Rick Delgado's got the news. Mr. Delgado, how are you?
I am good. Holy moly, there's so much going on. Let me just get that out of the way. Amazing.
Paul Nolan's here. He's going to do some news as well. Mr. Nolan, welcome back. How are you?
I am well, straight from the Fetterman collection.
Both you guys shop at the same place. Huh?
Yeah, they shop in the hood.
Looks good. Looks good. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. We are awaiting, I don't know, it's like a double-edged sword because I can't stomach it. But on one hand, the idea that this is his farewell address, good riddance. Get out.
Yeah,
and that, of course, is the
better Biden.
The current president of the United States is going to give his farewell address tonight. We're going to try to stomach it because what choice do we have?
Yeah,
we don't have any.
He's shuffling over from wherever they've got him stored, pickled, and he's going to try and choke out some words.
I mean, if
before
you're
he nods off to sleep,
you should send them out to like Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. Like he wouldn't notice it, and it would just go. It would go.
All right, let's go to the president of the United States right now.
A moment.
talk.
My fellow Americans,
What could go wrong?
I'm speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office. Before I begin, let me speak to important news from earlier today. After 8 months of nonstop negotiation, by my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas, the elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team and will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed, because that's how it should be, working together as Americans. This will be my final address to you from the American people from the Oval Office, from this desk as president. And I've been thinking a lot about who we are and maybe more importantly, who we should be. Long ago in New York Harbor, an iron worker installed beam after beam, day after day. He was joined by steel workers, stonemasons, engineers. They built not just a single structure, but a beacon of freedom. The very idea of America was so big, we felt the entire world needed to see. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France after our Civil War. Like the very idea of America, it was built not by one person, but by many people, from every background and from around the world. Like America, the Statue of Liberty is not standing still. Her foot literally steps forward atop a broken chain of human bondage. She's on the march, and she literally moves. She was built to sway back and forth to withstand the fury of stormy weather, to stand the test of time because storms are always coming. She sways a few inches, but she never falls into the current below. An engineering marvel. The Statue of Liberty is also an enduring symbol of the soul of our nation. A soul shaped by forces that bring us together and by forces that pull us apart. And yet through good times and tough times, we've withstood it all. A nation of pioneers and explorers, of dreamers and doers, of ancestors native to this land, of ancestors who came by force, a nation of immigrants who came to build a better life, a nation holding the torch of the most powerful idea ever in the history of the world, that all of us are created equal, that all of us deserve to be treated with dignity, justice, and fairness, that democracy must defend and be defined and be imposed, moved in every way possible. Our rights, our freedoms, our dreams. But we know the idea of America, our institution, our people, our values that uphold it are constantly being tested. Ongoing debates about power and the exercise of power. But whether we lead by the example of our power or the power of our example. Whether we show the courage to stand up to the abuse of power or we yield to it. After 50 years at the center of all of this, I know that believing in the idea of America means respecting the institutions that govern a free society. The presidency, the Congress, the courts, a free and independent press. Institutions that are rooted, they just might not reflect the timeless words, but they echo the words of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Rooted in the timeless words of the Constitution, we the people. Our system of separation of powers, checks and balances, it may not be perfect, but it's maintained our democracy for nearly 250 years, longer than any other nation in history that's ever tried such a bold experiment. In the past 4 years, our democracy has held strong. And every day I've kept my commitment to be president for all Americans through one of the toughest periods in our nation's history. I've had a great partner in Vice President Kamala Harris. It's been the honor of my life to see the resilience of essential workers getting us through a once-in-a-century pandemic. The heroism of service members and first responders keeping us safe. The determination of advocates standing up for our rights and our freedoms instead of losing their jobs to an economic crisis that we inherited. Millions of Americans now have the dignity of work. Millions of entrepreneurs and companies creating new businesses and industries, hiring American workers, using American products. And together, we've launched a new era of American possibilities. One of the greatest modernizations of infrastructure in our entire history, from new roads, bridges, clean water, affordable high-speed internet for every American. We invented the semiconductor, smaller than the tip of my little finger, and now is bringing those chip factories and those jobs back to America where they belong, creating thousands of jobs. Finally, giving Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices for millions of seniors, and finally doing something to protect our children and our families by passing the most significant gun safety law in 30 years and bringing violent crime to a 50-year low, meeting our sacred obligation to over 1 million veterans so far who are exposed to toxic materials, and to their families, providing medical care and education benefits and more for their families. You know, it will take time to feel the full impact of all we've done together. But the seeds are planted, and they'll grow and they'll bloom for decades to come. At home, we've created nearly 17 million new jobs, more than any other single administration, a single term. More people have health care than ever before. And overseas, we've strengthened NATO. Ukraine is still free. And we pulled ahead of our competition with China. And so much more. I'm so proud of how much we've accomplished together for the American people. And I wish the incoming administration success, because I want America to succeed. That's why I have held my duty to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition of power, to ensure we lead by the power of our example. I have no doubt that America is in a position to continue to succeed. That's why my farewell address tonight, I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before, more than a century ago. But the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy. Just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to. Workers want rights to earn their fair share. You know, they were dealt into the deal, and it helped put us on a path to building the largest middle class, the most prosperous century any nation in the world has ever seen. And we've got to do that again. In the last 4 years, that is exactly what we've done. People should be able to make as much as they can, but play by the same rules, pay their fair share of taxes. So much is at stake. Right now, the existential threat of climate change has never been clearer. Just look across the country, from California to North Carolina. That's why I signed the most significant climate and clean energy law ever in the history of the world, and the rest of the world is trying to model it now. It's working, creating jobs and industries of the future. Now, we've proven we don't have to choose between protecting the environment and growing the economy. We're doing both. But powerful forces want to wield their unchecked influence to eliminate the steps we've taken to tackle the climate crisis, to serve their own interest for power and profit. We must not be bullied into sacrificing the future of our children and our grandchildren. We must keep pushing forward and push faster. There's no time to waste. It's also clear that American leadership in technology is an unparalleled source of innovation that can transform lives. We see the same dangers of the concentration of technology, power, and wealth. You know, his farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He warned us then about, and I quote, the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote. 6 decades later, I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech-industrial complex that could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence is the most consequential technology of our time, perhaps of all time. Nothing offers more profound possibilities and risks for our economy and our security, our society, for humanity. Artificial intelligence even has the potential to help us answer my call to end cancer as we know it. But unless safeguards are in place, AI could spawn new threats to our rights, our way of life, to our privacy, how we work, and how we protect our nation. We must make sure AI is safe and trustworthy and good for all humankind. In the age of AI, it's more important than ever that the people must govern. And as the land of liberty, America, not China, must lead the world in the development of AI. You know, in the years ahead, it's going to be up to the president, the presidency, the Congress, the courts, the free press, and the American people to confront these powerful forces. We must reform the tax code, not by giving the biggest tax cuts to billionaires, but by making them begin to pay their fair share. We need to get dark money. That's that hidden funding behind too many campaigns contributions. We need to get it out of our politics. We need to enact an 18-year time and term for the strongest ethics reforms and the strongest ethics reforms for our Supreme Court. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stock while they're in the Congress. We need to amend the Constitution to make clear that no president is immune from crimes that he or she commits while in office. The president's power is not limited. It's not absolute, and it shouldn't be. And in a democracy, there's another danger to the concentration of power and wealth. It erodes a sense of unity and common purpose. It causes distrust and division. Participating in our democracy becomes exhausting and even disillusioning. And people don't feel like they have a fair shot. We have to stay engaged in the process. I know it's frustrating. A fair shot is what makes America, America. Everyone's entitled to a fair shot. Not a guarantee, but just a fair shot. An even playing field. Going as far as your hard work and talent can take you. We can never lose that essential truth, remain who we are. I've always believed, and I've told other world leaders, America can be defined by one word: possibilities. Only in America do we believe anything is possible. Like a kid with a stutter from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claremont, Delaware, sitting behind this desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. That's the magic of America. It's all around us. Upstairs in the residence of the White House, I've walked by a painting of the Statue of Liberty I don't know how many times. In the painting, there's several workers climbing on the outstretched arm of the statue that holds the torch. It reminds me every day I pass it of the story and soul of our nation and the power of the American people. There's a story of a veteran. This is a veteran, the son of an immigrant, whose job was to climb that torch and polish the amber panes so rays of light could reach out as far as possible. He was known as the keeper of the flame. He once said of the Statue of Liberty, quote, "speaks a silent universal language, one of hope that anyone who seeks and speaks freedom can understand." Yes, we sway back and forth to withstand the fury of the storm, to stand the test of time. A constant struggle, a short distance between peril and possibility. But what I believe is the America of our dreams is always closer than we think. And it's up to us to make our dreams come true. Let me close by stating my gratitude to so many people. To the members of my administration, as well as public service and first responders across the country and around the world, thank you for stepping up to serve. To our service members and your families, it's been the highest honor of my life to lead you as Commander-in-Chief. And of course to Kamala and our incredible partner, historic Vice President. She and Doug have become like family, and to me, family's everything. My deepest appreciation to our amazing First Lady who's with me in the Oval today. For our entire family. You're the love of my life and the lives of my love. My eternal thanks to you, the American people. After 50 years of public service, I give you my word. I still believe in the idea for which this nation stands. A nation where the strengths of our institutions and the character of our people matter and must endure. Now it's your turn to stand guard. May you all be the keeper of the flame. May you keep the faith. I love America. You love it too. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you for this great honor.
We should over.
And cut. Cut the video, pre-recorded, probably who knows how long ago.
Hours.
Because they couldn't even make him sound cogent in a pre-recorded video. Because what are you going to do? Here's the thing, Joe. I mean, maybe someone on your staff tells you that people that nobody cares what you think you've done, what you think's going to happen, what you're worried about going forward. Nobody cares. What we care about is that don't let the door hit you.
Wait, a good Lord split you.
On the way out. Get to the dog track. Leave us alone. Get the hell out of here. Take your crooked family with you. We don't care about what you think utopia has been the last 4 years. Well, it's been a disaster. And we certainly don't care about what you think's going to happen in the next 4 or what you're worried about. Made up whatever the hell he was. I really wasn't even paying attention. Oligarchs, something he said, tech oligarchs or whatever.
He was talking about the country. Starting to these billionaire oligarchs are starting to align and take over the country. He seems to forget about the oligarchs that supported him the last 4 years, including Mr. Bezos, Mr. Gates, Zuckerberg, Soros, Bloomberg, and Hoffman. He forgets about those billionaires.
And the entire Chinese government.
Right.
I mean, what is he talking about with this revisionist, this history of even the job creation nonsense? Nonsense jobs.
I mean, he's a World Economic Forum puppet this whole time, and he's worried about oligarchs.
Right.
I mean, the whole team at Davos is dangling around like the little marionette that he is. Please. So full of it.
Oh, my God. Just...
I would like to say
just get out.
The gall. Everything he did wrong, he lashed out as if he didn't do any of that stuff the whole time.
Right. It's like the guy getting busted coming out of the house of a girlfriend by his wife.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Right? But we all know it was you, Joe, because you did it. We saw you do it, and we saw you do it in slow motion, which is actual regular motion for you.
He's like the guy who farts in the elevator and points to his friend.
I mean,
he did it.
Yeah, it was Paul.
That's just crazy. We created more jobs than anyone. You've created government. All you've done is grow government. You've created more government jobs. You've created more jobs for illegals. Native citizens' jobs have fallen off a cliff. We've talked about this. These numbers, these made-up numbers that he uses. First of all, people returning from COVID is what he wants to credit most of his job creation to. And then we've seen the job numbers and what the revisions look like out of the Philadelphia Fed and the Philly Reserve from the board of some of these numbers. Sometimes 1 million jobs disappear in these revisions. Yeah. I mean, it's just such a waste of time.
And they're always revised down, never upward. Amazing, though, he didn't talk about one of his greatest accomplishments of opening the entire southern border. He didn't talk about that.
Well, no, because when they talk about it, they'll say the numbers are actually down.
Right. Well, that's what he did the other day. It's amazing.
Nobody believes this
It's
anymore.
this real skill to lie. I think it's a real skill to be able to lie to the level that they lie to. As if we all just got dropped here from planet Pluto today. Like none of us have been here.
So it's a skill to be a sociopath.
Yeah, I think to the degree that they do it, I think it really is a skill. It's a learned skill.
But you know what it is? And it's only been in the last, maybe 6 to 8 years where they used to be able to get away without a problem. No one would ever question it. Now, today, you can go online. Everybody's got one of these.
Yep.
They go online, they pull up videos of what this guy said last week, and they'd be like, you're full of it. And we can see it, and they share it. I don't know if you saw that video of Gavin Newsom today talking about the fire. We do have that clip. He sounded like he was about to cry, and it was
Crocodile
reminiscent.
tears.
No, but it was reminiscent of what we've seen lately from Justine Trudeau up north, is where now they're getting confronted by people to their face, and they don't like it. Because they're being called out on all their lies and all their BS and everything they've done. It's all coming back. It's coming home to roost, as they say.
I mean, that wasn't much different than his normal stump speech that he gives. Oh, the power example of the power, that stupid thing, and all. I mean, possibilities. I was waiting for the Tibetan plateau to come up or something. It's just, it's the same speech. When did they tape that? You think 10 in the morning? 9, 10 in the morning, blacked out the windows to make it look like it's dark, probably something.
Definitely when he hits his high point of the day before he starts to sundown.
Yeah,
definitely.
Because there's not even a 0.1% chance that was probably live.
Right.
I would say 0% chance.
Yeah, it was right between his Sanka and his pablum.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you could see he was already seated. Normally, when they're going to do something live, they come walking out. They want a little bit of an entrance. They want, like he did this afternoon with the hostage thing that he wanted to take credit for. He comes walking out. He had people with him. This was his farewell address. I'm going to come walking out and be like, hey, everybody, here's the great things that I've done the last 4 years. It's all nonsense. But he was already seated, and he was like this, waiting. It's like, all right, talk, dummy, go.
Yeah, I was just waiting to see Jim Henson's hand and just like master of the puppet there. I thought he had a lot of gall to bring up Truman in the military industrial complex.
Oh God!
Where does he come off warning us about the military industrial complex? I mean, is this guy so tone deaf and detached from reality, or like Dee said, he's the most skillful liar, or a bit of both?
I thought he had a lot of gall just showing up. Even putting this out, doing this. Who cares? Who's telling him that anybody wants to hear from him at this point? Do your pardons, pardon your brother, pardon yourself, pardon Fauci, Cheney, whoever else you're going to pardon. Just get the hell out of here.
An entire corporation of Pfizer? Yeah, okay.
Follow Michelle Obama as if don't even show up. We don't need to see you. We don't want to see you.
Now, is Michelle Obama is Big Mike not showing up because her and Obama are on the outs?
I don't know why she's not. But she's not coming, and I wish she would follow that advice too. And all of them. We don't need to see any of them. All of them can stay home. 26 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. We will move on, as we all will move on from Biden, and get into the future. What's going on? And that, of course, is Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth, and 47.
And cash.
Live in the chats.
Yeah.
Should have sat him down, and then when they said, "Okay, 3, 2, 1," should have said, "I'm sorry," and that was it. Cut. Go to black.
Biden out.
Chat. What's going on? We've only spent 7 hours together so far today.
Yes.
Welcome to another 2.
Yeah, super chat too.
Got a super chat already.
Child of the king.
Child of
Giving
the
the love.
Child of the King. Okay, Joe, here we go. Take 333. Go, Joe. Try not to think about your full diaper. Yeah.
Oof.
They wish they could get that done in 333 takes. No chance.
I just can picture the producer.
That's what throws you off when watching it, because he was like, for a second, I was like, oh, this could be live, because he's bumbling and fumbling words, but I mean, there's just
and
no
that's
way
as good
to get,
as he could do.
Yeah, that was as good as he could do.
It honestly felt like every like 3 minutes somebody's yelling line, like a producer.
I think
I was waiting
they're
for
more yelling clear.
Yeah, the guy from Liberty Bibbity. The good news is this: we don't have to listen to Kamala ever speak in public again.
What did he say at the end? We've become great
And
friends.
now him.
Yeah, and the first...
They hate each other so much.
Oh, he didn't remember the husband right
It's
away.
like-
Then he got Doug.
We're like family. No,
Yeah.
you're not.
Sure, you're the
Was it-
Manson family, maybe.
Yeah,
Liberty, right? Limu and Doug.
We're like family.
It's like the
yeah.
What was the
Hatfields and
husband's name?
McCoys.
Doug.
You're like the Menendez family, maybe. That's
my
about
goodness.
it.
They hate each other.
That was pretty apparent at Carter's funeral, right? Oof.
I mean, just God. I mean, it was dark enough, but the idea that he thinks that anybody cares to listen to him give that
Drag
gloom and
Blacker.
doom.
Drag Blacker.
Just go away.
Drag Blacker says I should be confirmed as the UFO secretary. I agree.
Hands down.
I'm
Hands
there.
down.
I would serve honorably.
Yep.
Like, somebody has to make that decision, right, and approve that script and think this is who.
Jill. Jill probably approved.
Oh, I don't even think she spends time with him anymore.
No, she's gone.
Like, yeah, you're useless to me now. Really?
Well, I said we were going to move on, but I just want to point out the fact that the feedback on social media from all sides, by the way, is basically that no one has ever heard such a dark and, quite frankly, disgusting farewell address as that was. And even Democrats are saying, I'm looking for reasons to like this, and he's not giving me any. So, yeah, just please go away. Just go away. All right, we'll move on. We'll talk about Pam Bondi's hearing today. No, Delgado's going to cover a lot of that. Paul Nolan's got some news coming up as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down, but we'll start, as we always do, with sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6P is the promo code to use. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D, let's get to the
Is that a
scoreboard.
new jacket?
No.
Okay.
No, this is
Oh,
soon.
I've seen that one.
I want it. Yeah, once in a while.
Okay.
All right.
When you have 1,300 jackets in your wardrobe, you
it's
you
hard
don't
to
notice the repeats.
Yeah.
Paul, 1,293.
I saw this one in 2022. I remember.
How's the new closet coming?
right.
How's the new closet?
New closet's coming good. Coming good. Yeah,
That's
I'm
good.
gonna
That's
give
good.
you some video on that. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Come on down. I'll bring it on the morning show when I stop by. There we go. NCAA men's basketball. Right now, good one. Iowa State, number 2, the great state of Iowa, leading Kansas, number 9, 48-41, 11 to go there in the second half. At the half, Michigan State over Penn State, 46-36. Georgia right now over Tennessee, 16-14, 8 to go there in the first. And Houston, 29-21 over West Virginia, 7:38 there in the first half as well. Wake Forest defeated Stanford tonight, 80-67. Pitt's taking on Florida State coming up at 9 p.m. tip-off. NHL light schedule tonight. The Sabres right now up in Buffalo leading the Hurricanes 4-2, end of 3. So therefore that game is over. So they won 4-3. And the Oilers and Wild, that's an 8:30 puck drop out in with the Wild there in Minnesota. We got the NBA action. Knicks right now beating up on the Sixers, 64-53, 9 to go there in the third quarter. Raptors over the Celtics, 46-44, 3 to go in the second. And in the first, Hawks over the Bulls, 27-25. And Martina Navratilova to Dems who voted against trans bill, grow a spine. This is Dylan Gwynn of Breitbart. The Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act passed the House. We reported on that last night on the strength of a unanimous Republican vote. However, only 2 Democrats supported the measure to protect girls from trans athletes, and the rest voted against it. Tennis legend Martina Navratilova is now calling foul. Shame on the Democrats who really don't care about women, girls, and their safety, fairness, Navratilova said in a response to a news report that only 2 House Dems had voted for the measure. In another post, Navratilova chastised Dems for having only 2 members willing to stand up for women. More Dems need to step up here. I know many who agree but are scared to speak up because of re-election. I say do the right thing, grow a spine. Navratilova, a liberal, has been outspoken in her belief that men should be kept out of women's sports. Moreover, she has spared no criticism of her fellow libs in the Democrat Party who claim to stand for women, yet don't support laws aimed at ensuring fairness in women's sports. And, Conor McGregor, big lawsuit filed against him today. I won't go into all the details. I'll spare you that. But lawsuit filed against Conor McGregor over alleged sexual assault at the 2023 NBA Finals. Warner Todd Houston of Breitbart. The Miami Heat has been named as a defendant by a woman who alleges that mixed martial arts fighter Conor McGregor sexually assaulted her at the team's arena in Florida. The woman filed her suit anonymously on Tuesday, alleging that McGregor sexually assaulted her during Game 4 of the NBA Finals on June 9th. Of 2023. The suit also alleges that the team is at fault for over-serving alcohol to the Irish MMA champion, according to Sports Illustrated. The suit names Basketball Properties LLC, which operates the Kayesa Arena, accusing the company of gross negligence. Apparently, he was mixing his own drinks in the bar, and a lot of stuff was going on. We reported on this earlier, but so Conor McGregor, he's got a lot of explaining to do. Big D. We'll see what happens with him. I know he's trying to get back in the ring as well, and just don't know what's going to happen there. We'll have to keep an eye on him. He's just about at the edge there with his career, but
I don't think he's getting back in the MMA ring. He may be getting in a boxing ring, but I don't know about MMA.
Yeah, he's going to be in the movies, though. He did a great job in Roadhouse. I mean, he played that villain role perfectly.
That was the time he was thinking about running for president of Ireland, too, but I guess that didn't...
the movie was pure cheese, but he was good in that, so he's got a great... He's just got that X factor about him. You never know what he's going to say next.
He's got that edge. Yeah,
he's a wacko.
He can't stay out of trouble. That's the problem.
Cannot stay out of trouble.
Yep.
And he's got a beautiful, I don't know if they're married, but he's got beautiful kids.
Yeah, he does.
And a girl, I don't know if they're married. I don't know if it's his wife or whatever, but they've been together or they've stayed together for quite a while.
Yeah,
would you guys say that?
But he can't get it together.
Would you say he was probably one of the most or the most valuable player in MMA to get it to the next level?
Times 10, it's not even close.
Oh, yeah, his name is
incredible. You can go back to George St. Pierre and guys who were really important, obviously, really
They didn't bring that kind of shine.
Nobody brought that kind of
attitude.
Yeah, and
electricity to the he was on the screen.
Electric.
He had that X factor like Prince, like MJ. Some
like
people
Muhammad
have
Ali.
it. Like Muhammad Ali.
Yep, exactly.
But boy, man, I sure would like it if he would, get his stuff together, man. Maybe if anyone needs Christ in his life, it's him, boy.
Yeah, that's
he is
a good point,
mess.
Paul. Amen to that. And that's a wrap in Sports. Big D, back to you.
All right, Slick, thanks. Sports brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use if you're going to shop at MyPillow. MyPillow.com/LFS6B is the promo, and LFS6B is the promo code to use. I see on Twitter one of the other reactions. I didn't think of this when he was talking about the oligarchy thing. This is a guy who just presented the Medal of Freedom to George Soros. Hello? Anybody home there at the White House who put this script together? It's like they just figured, just go say it. It doesn't matter. No one's going to think about this stuff. I mean, I think that's actually what they really think. Because it's like the hypocrisy of all of it. It's like you're worried about tech oligarchies and billionaires and whether they're doing community notes or fact-checking, and you just awarded the highest civilian honor to George Soros? Like, what?
Well, what is it that the Democrats always do? They always accuse you of what they're actually doing,
of course,
right?
Of course.
And KDJ reminds us all the time that's one of the tenets of Marxism, is always accuse your opponent of what you're actually doing. Yep. And if you sit back and you look back at some of the things that they kept saying about Trump, it was actually them doing it the whole time.
Of course.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, we've been talking
Hypocrisy.
about the cultural Marxism.
At the highest,
taking down statues, rewriting history, telling children to hate their government. That's how that's the tenets of how to destroy a country from within.
Right. Boys can be girls and you can't question it, that kind of stuff.
Forgot about the statues. Man,
Just
that was
amazing.
unbelievable.
Eric Erickson says, apparently the news networks gave former President Biden time to speak tonight. Not sure why, given he's been out of office since probably the end of June.
That's generous, by the way. I don't think that guy made a decision since day 3.
Yeah, exactly. I thought
other
his
than maybe
inauguration.
what he wanted for breakfast, but I still doubt
thought
that
the
as well.
inauguration speech was his farewell speech.
I want cornflakes. No, you're going to have a bowl of Adderall, buddy. We need you to talk.
Exactly.
All right, let's do some news. News is brought to you by Freedom Force Nutrition, available live from Studio6B.com right there on the homepage. Rick Delgado's got the news. Delgado, what's going on?
All right. Well, big news on the Hill today, of course, with the confirmation hearings of multiple people, including Marco Rubio and Pam Bondi and John Ratcliffe. We'll get to those clips in just a little bit. But let's talk about the big news coming out of the Middle East. This top Qatari official, this coming from John Solomon's Just the News, says Trump and his envoy were the ones who helped push the Hamas ceasefire deal over the line. U.S. and Israeli officials say Trump and Biden coordinated their strategies before Trump envoy Steve Witkoff was dispatched to the region. Of course, I don't know if you saw it, but in a live edition of Joe Biden, he came out of I guess it was the White House. I'm not exactly sure where. It probably was the White House earlier this afternoon to announce the deal. And here he is. This is cut number 15 as he makes his way out, flanked by his handlers, to announce the Israel-Hamas hostage deal, cut 15.
And the Secretary of State. Let's listen.
Good afternoon. It's a very good afternoon. Because at long last, I can announce a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached between Israel and Hamas.
Yeah, so there you have it. The big announcement, according to many people, including a top Qatari official, told Just the News that Donald Trump's pressure and the negotiating work of the President-elect President-elect's envoy Steve Witkoff helped push the long-stalled ceasefire and hostage release deal between Hamas and Israel over the line. Israel and U.S. and Israeli officials confirmed to Just the News that Trump and Biden coordinated their strategies before Witkoff was dispatched to the region and helped restart a deal reached last spring, but had faltered and stagnated in place for months. Here is, I guess, after he did his big announcement and mumbled about for about 5 or 10 minutes. Cut 16. Here's Biden asked if President Trump is responsible for this deal. Cut number 16.
Thank you.
Brooks, credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump?
Is that a joke? Oh, thank you.
What?
Yes, when asked by the reporter who was responsible, him or Trump, he asked if that was a joke. Not if you were to ask Gonzo from the State Department. Cut number 11, here he is giving credit to not Joe Biden, but giving credit to Donald Trump. Cut number 11.
When it comes to the involvement of President-elect Trump's team, it has been absolutely critical in getting this deal over the line.
There you have it. So, not a joke, serious question, but Joe Biden doesn't want to hear it.
Yep.
He doesn't want any success, anything positive that could possibly shine light on the new administration coming in, going their way. He wants it all for himself. The plagiarizer in chief trying to take credit for just about everything and tell you that none of what you see is really what you see.
Rick, don't you think it would be refreshing to maybe at one point in our lifetime to hear any politician say, look, this is not about me. I'm just glad I was able to serve the people. Just some humility somewhere along the way. These guys, everybody on the left is constantly pounding their chest. Look at me, look at me, look at me. How do you think the public would react just once to some humility from our elected leaders? Yeah. A little bit of decency.
That'd be refreshing.
A little bit. Yeah. It would be refreshing.
I mean, at some point, is someone going to show any kind of dignity up there? It's so hard to watch this stuff.
Yeah. According to it's not the greatest deal in the world. Securing the ceasefire and hostage deal had been a priority for the incoming administration. President-elect Trump said it's been clear, and he made statements last week that either you get this done before I get there, or there's going to be hell to pay, basically.
Yeah.
And I guess this was Hamas's way going, look, if we wait past January 20th, this is the best deal we're going to get. We might as well take this one now.
And when I came in, I didn't I worked.
Wait, you think Hamas was the one who was making the decision whether to take it?
Well, from what I understand, they didn't want to give any hostages. That was part of their stance. That's what stalled everything back months ago, was they didn't want to include any hostages at all.
Just in the name of true disclosure, like I had a really busy day working, and I was trying to get as much news as I could and I came in and say, oh, this is great. Biden's trying to take credit for this deal. And Big D and Rick said, look, let him have credit. This is a lousy deal. And now I'm trying to like catch up a little as I go. D, could you expand on that, please?
Yeah. I mean, the thing about this is that obviously you have to acknowledge when you talk about this that every life has tremendous value.
Amen.
Every life is important.
Amen.
Yes.
And the pressure, I'm sure that everybody, the Israelis most of all, felt to have the opportunity to get even one person home is overwhelming, what that must be. But it is hard to, well, we got to hit the break, and then we'll come back and talk about this. Hi, live from Studio 6B, 43 past the hour on a Wednesday night. More about this when we get back right after this.
Right. Any step towards peace, right? I mean, our whole lifetimes, all we've ever known is really war.
Yeah. Except for Trump's 4 years.
Yeah. Except for Trump's 4 years.
Which was amazing, right? And all of a sudden, looks like we're back on that trail after we saw it happen today.
I mean, the word is that the U.S. was pressuring Israel to be the one to make the deal. Israel was under tremendous pressure from the U.S. to try to take this deal. But the issue is it's hard to square this deal to me smells totally like a Biden deal that Trump's team, unfortunately, because they're not there and they weren't in total control of it, is having to swallow. Because this is not a Trump deal.
Right.
There's no way you can convince me that Trump was like, oh, yeah. First of all, if Biden and Kamala are both putting out statements on how great the deal is, there's no way Trump can be aligned with that. Biden said today we spoke with one voice. How's that possible that you could speak with one voice? You're polar opposites on everything dealing with this part of the world. The numbers are crazy on this deal from what I've seen.
And
Hamas can hand over dead bodies and still be in, aligned with what the deal is, not considered breaking the deal.
Yeah, in compliance.
In compliance, handing over bodies. I am stunned at how many people have run to social media to talk about what a great deal this is, because they're unwilling to even remotely criticize or even take a reasonable look at what's on the table. He said if we don't have all the hostages back by the time I take office, there's going to be all hell is going to break loose. There's no way somebody objectively can look at what we know right now and say that is getting all the You're not even getting all the Americans back. There's Americans who are left behind. You're telling me Trump signed off on that? I don't believe it.
There could be, who knows, maybe there's another deal.
Well, there will be.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, this is not a final deal. I mean, this is a precursor. I think this was just the Biden administration trying to save face at any level to get any kind of win on the way out, as horrible as the deal looks. The more I look into it, it just looked like they caved in to get any form of a deal to show that they're in some kind of compliance with Israel.
Right.
listening to the Hour live from Studio 6B. So getting to this deal from the time the facts started to drop smelled to me, and I know probably the least about what's going on here as anyone who will talk about it, so you have to take that as a grain of salt. But I can look at the numbers that are out, and if you believe that they're accurate, when everybody's reporting pretty much the same thing, that Israel, under immense pressure from the U.S., has agreed basically to release somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,300 terrorists.
Is it that high?
They've agreed to cease fighting Hamas, leave most of Gaza, and in return, they're going to get the release of only 33 hostages out of over that are 100 that we know of are being held. Of the 33, 20 of them are actually alive. The other 13 are bodies. For each hostage, about 50 terrorists get released. And there's Americans who are being left behind in this. They're not even part of the deal. I think there's 7 known Americans being held, and I think only 4 of them are part of the deal or get released at some point under this schedule of release. I think I saw 3 of them are not even a part of it. You cannot tell me that if President Trump was in control of this whole negotiation from beginning to end, that Americans would be being left behind. I don't believe it. You can't tell me that the same person who said, if we don't have all the hostages back by the time I take office, all hell is going to break loose. Well, you're not even getting close to all the hostages back. So is all hell breaking loose, or is it not breaking loose? Because everybody sounds like they're taking a victory lap. And again, I caveat all of this by saying, I'll never know what it feels like to be in a position to have to make a deal where you can actually get life back. The pressure, every life has tremendous value. I get that. So I don't know what it's like. And by the way, if it was my kid and it was only one person they were getting back, I would think obviously differently about this.
You know what?
I think anything's worth it.
Right. I'd be willing for one life. I'd be willing to send the whole Biden administration. I would trade them all for one soldier.
But how can it be a good deal if you don't get unconditional surrender from the terrorists? How can it be a good deal if you're trading their terrorists
win
for your bodies?
Yeah. The Biden administration did everything in its power to take a dookie all over Israel through this whole thing. This whole 4 years, it was, they were pro-Palestine for the most part, pro-Muslim, this anti-Islamophobia, but all that stuff. I think this was a desperate win on the way out, and Trump's going to have to clean up a lousy deal.
Yeah, but you're also another part that people don't realize, and this I heard a few commentators talking about, is the pressure that Netanyahu is under in Israel from his own people.
Most people think this deal will be the end. By the way, there's one other caveat that we should stipulate. I believe I saw, I forget who put it out. I think Israel's cabinet has to still vote on this tomorrow morning for it to actually be official.
Right.
Really?
So I believe so.
And they're parading around as a win already, so they must know something, right?
Well, a lot of people who know the region well, Jerusalem Post reporters said that this deal could be the end of Bibi if this goes through.
And he
can't survive it.
From what I understand, the overwhelming, at least 60 or more percent of the people in Israel wanted any deal done to get these hostages back. So he was under a lot of pressure from his own people to get something done. Is this the final deal? Probably not, because it's only a ceasefire. There is no end to the war. It's a ceasefire. How long will that ceasefire last? I don't know. It could last 3 days. They might decide, hey, one of these wackos that decides I'm going to launch a rocket because I don't care, and all of a sudden, hey, deal's off. Guess what? Now all hell's breaking loose, and now it's 3 or 4 days later, and you don't have any deal. And another thing to keep in mind is the people that run Hamas aren't over there in Gaza. They're held up in Qatar. They're living the life of Riley at the expense of all this. So they don't have to worry about that because they're protected. They're billionaires. They don't have to worry about that. They call the shots from afar, so it doesn't really touch them. I think past January 20th, it could be an issue where now they'll feel somebody reaching out and touching them where they're hiding in Qatar. I think that's what could finally get a real deal on the table.
From the AP today, the terms of the hostage deal are ludicrous. Aside from no list of the living handed over to Israel, there's an out for the Palestinians. They can exchange dead bodies and still remain compliant with the terms of the deal. David Harsani from The Federalist says, you can understand why Israel agreed to this terrible deal. The political pressure to bring hostages home is enormous, but allowing Hamas to retrench and rewarding it for taking hostages, many likely murdered already, will turn out to be a horrendous mistake. It's a good thing that we will get back 1/3 of the hostages, not all of whom were alive, but that means 2/3 remain in captivity. Trump warned they'll be hell to pay if hostages are not released by inauguration. So will there be hell to pay, or was it an empty threat? It's a good question. And Trump willingly set the standard. He doesn't get a victory lap for a bad deal when most of the hostages are still there, even if Israel is ultimately responsible for the decision. And here's how bad you know it is. You know who's out today taking a victory lap? Oh, that would be CARE. CARE releases a statement unequivocally thanking Trump for his efforts in reportedly securing the deal and condemning Biden for his failure to do so earlier in his term. The president of CARE is also out with a statement tonight. Jerusalem Post reports 3,000 convicted terrorists to be released by Israel, including convicted murderers.
Wow.
So, I mean, the running of, wow, he's made this deal and he's not even in office yet, that I'm seeing all over the place just seems somewhat strange how they square that with what we've heard and what the terms of this deal so far, that we, at least if we understand it, are, giving that Hamas gets to remain in existence. They don't have to unconditionally surrender. They have to give up 30 or some so of the 100 hostages, some who will be just bodies, and they get to rebuild and reestablish themselves seemingly. 0 American hostages released. I thought it was 4, but I guess it's not. 0 American hostages released. And people try to sell this as this is a Trump deal. The hell it is.
Yeah, the only way it's a Trump deal is if all these returning criminals that get released back to Hamas all have pagers affixed to them for 24 hours.
The director of CARE, which is this terrorist front group, says, real Donald Trump, we commend you for pushing for a ceasefire deal and reportedly warning Benjamin Netanyahu that Israel, too, will face consequences for continuing to refuse to make a deal. So do we think that that's what President Trump was doing?
No way.
Pressuring Bibi to make a deal? We urge you to ensure that the Israeli government does not sabotage this ceasefire deal. That from the president of CARE tonight. Mark Levin, despite all the announcements and news reports tonight, apparently the Israeli cabinet votes on this deal tomorrow, and there's reportedly significant opposition to them releasing 3,000 terrorists, among many other things. So I'm not sure what the pom-pom grabbing and jumping up and down and taking victory laps on this deal right now, as we understand it, is about, but David Friedman had a little bit of a different take. We'll go over that. Give you a little bit of the other side. Live from Studio 6B, quick hour 1, hour 2, coming back.
10:30.
Yeah.
All right, chat. Dying to know. I want to know how everyone. I'd love to talk about it on air about this Elon Musk being attacked by Bannon. Not happy about this. I love Steve Bannon. I think he's a genius. Love him. And by the way, I want to thank the audience. I don't remember who it was for reminding me to get back to Glenn Beck, because Glenn Beck has always done some of the best research, especially on the Fabians and the Freemasons. I mean, some of the work he did going all the way back to the Vatican, which got him in so much trouble in 08, 09, where he essentially got run off of Fox when he was doing that show on Fox Business at 5 o'clock Eastern time. That show was fantastic. And, he's had a lot of good stuff. And I just, I don't know, man. Between Bannon, Beck, guys who really, I don't know. They just got to keep MAGA on track. I mean, if there's what do you guys think of that? Do you think Bannon's just jealous that he's no longer Trump's right hand man?
I have no idea. Yeah, I have not been paying attention.
You're not paying attention.
I haven't either.
Disappointing to me. But like we said when we first got, I came back, was you still got to keep, that rock eyebrow up when it comes to Musk. You don't know if he's a billionaire and a technocrat, right? He bought, X for free speech is great, but they say data is the new gold in the new world, and he bought a lot of data.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of power too. So I would love to know the order. I wish we could pipe one or two audience members in.
Yeah, I would love that.
Once a show, it'd be so great to talk to.
We do it for the odds makers, but we just do the picks. We have done it. But it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, Paul.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you don't get one with nuts.
You definitely get nuts
from downtown. That's a good one right there.
Ordinary passenger said, "Did Damon go warm his socks now?" Yes, he did. As a matter of fact,
he did.
He doesn't wear socks. Now. Fred Flintstone over there just wears sandals.
I know.
That's true.
Hour 2, live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night, 9 o'clock on the East Coast, Real America's Voice, and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio, New York. Glad you're in. Slick's doing sports. Delgado's got the news. Paul Nolan's got some news coming up as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Glad you're part of the show. Let me give you David Friedman's take on this deal, because a lot of what I've seen has been negative, and my own interpretation, of course, is I'm not really sure how you square this being a great deal, given the bar that was set. But David Friedman says, certainly knows a lot more about this than I do, and knows the area, and worked with President Trump on the Abraham Accords, and he says Israel's national nightmare is not over. Not all the hostages are being freed, and the war against Hamas will continue. But those saying that this is a victory for Hamas have got it wrong. Number one, Israel is getting hostages back without ending the war. Number two, Trump made clear that never again will Gaza be a safe haven for terrorists. Number three, every senior member of Trump's foreign policy team, Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth, in their testimony, and Mike Waltz in his media appearances, have said unequivocally that Hamas must be eradicated. Number 4, the daylight between Biden and Netanyahu that empowered Hamas and incentivized it to hold back on a hostage deal is at its end. Hamas knows that its days are numbered. That's why it tried to make this deal. Israel has degraded Hamas massively and has gained enormous intel over the past 15 months. When inevitably it continues this battle, it will prevail decisively. Today is not about winning or losing the war. Today is about bringing an end to human suffering for at least some hostages. I pray that all hostages are released within the next 6 weeks, following which the Hamas terrorist state exists no more. So, a little different take on a little bit of the more positive side, and I think it's fair to bring that up as well.
Well, I think the bottom line is this war is not over, right? I think that's what we're seeing is it's a ceasefire. It's not the end of the war. It's not the end of we're just going to let you guys peacefully coexist now. We're going to stop killing you for now. But
we're just going to reload.
Right. We're going to continue at some point unless you get your ass together.
Yeah, everyone's going to.
Hopefully that's what the policy is going to be moving from January 20th at like 12:01 forward.
You know, it's hard to believe it's going to be any real ceasefire. I mean, this doesn't stop. It never stops.
But the good thing is too that you got. I made the mention about the pagers. Hezbollah, who used to be the ones that Hamas could rely on, they can't rely on them anymore because most of them have lost multiple hands and a lot of them are dead, thanks to the efforts of the Israelis. So they don't have them to fall back on. Iran is now knowing that their money stream is going to be cut off in just a couple days. Things are. You know what? Maybe this is just the precursor for something that's about to be a major shift.
No, let's hope.
Daniel Greenfield, who's been on the show before, who I wanted to try to get on tonight, but is clearly not happy with this deal. He says Hamas negotiators are saying that they will continue the war. This is not a ceasefire. It is not peace. It's surrendering to terrorists who will go on fighting anyways. Biden said Trump team and them were speaking with the same voice. Did Americans vote for more of the same voice? The Hamas surrender deal sets up Trump to fail. It betrays the Israeli soldiers who gave it all to defeat Hamas. So that's a little bit of both sides on this. We'll see what develops, obviously. We'll see if anything changes, obviously, when President Trump gets into office. But I have to say I'm a little confused. When the jihadi lobby of CARE in the United States is throwing a big party and putting out statements on how happy they are.
Yeah.
It's probably not a great sign that it's a great deal.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's do some news here. We'll do some news with Paul and we'll do some news with Rick. Let's start with Rick. News is brought to you by Freedom Force Nutrition. Delgado's got it. What's going on?
All right. Well, I think the big story, aside from this deal that we've been talking about, is the confirmation hearing for one Pam Bondi for Attorney General.
Streamed 5.5 hours of it today, and about 3,000 of my closest friends were with me the whole time.
Yeah, U.S. Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi clashed with senior Democratic senators during her confirmation hearing to lead the Department of Justice earlier today. Bondi was forced to defend President-elect Trump's pick to lead the FBI. That was an odd one. Should we jump to that clip first? Because that was the oddest exchange. And I didn't catch the one from what's his name, the crypt keeper there, Blumenthal. Yeah. But I did grab the one from Dick Durbin.
So you have clips of a lot of dicks, is what you're saying?
I got one dick clip.
No surprise.
So you have dick clips,
right? I have one. Cut number 8, and it's weird because again, this is the confirmation for Attorney General Pam Bondi. She is front and center. Yeah. I don't think we heard Pam Bondi or Marco Rubio or anybody else mentioned when they were talking to Pete Hegseth yesterday. They only talked about Pete Hegseth. Today, things veered off a little bit. And, aside from, like I said, Blumenthal, which is a clip I didn't grab, Dick Durbin seems to be very scared of one Kash Patel, as we noticed here in cut number 8. Check this out.
In his life, But he also has said and done some things which are impossible to understand and justify. For example, are you familiar with something called the QAnon conspiracy?
I have heard of it, but I do not know what it is, but I've heard of it many times, Senator.
So let me tell you what I've learned about it. Its core belief is that a cabal of satanic, cannibalistic child molesters are embedded within our government and are conspiring against President-elect Trump.
Sounds about right.
They asked Mr. Patel about it, and he said, quote, "I agree with a lot that the movement says."
This
End
guy's
of
a
quote.
clown.
Does that sound like a good preparation to run the FBI?
Senator, I don't know anything about. I had heard of QAnon, but I've never heard that definition attached to it at all. You're going to have to ask Mr. Patel about those statements.
We will. And I tell you, until we get answers to those questions, I don't know many people on this side of the table will give him an unequivocal endorsement. This and his enemies list, what he calls his government gangsters, this is what you expect of Stasi. This is what you expect of secret police. It is not what you expect of justice in America as you've even described it at the table today. So I would say this unequivocal support of Mr. Patel should at least have some reservation until he explains some of these outrageous positions he has taken.
I look forward to hearing his testimony about QAnon in front of this committee.
You will.
Good answer. Good answer.
Can I just go on record and say...
Were you familiar with all that, Delgado?
With what? Dick Durbin?
I mean, I just familiarized you with
yes.
it. Okay.
It was...
Can we just talk about how beautiful she is? Is that wrong? How is she 59? Well, I know why. I'll be 57 Friday. And that's right in my wheelhouse. I like them my age. Okay. That girl, she is so beautiful. I'm sorry. It's so unprofessional.
You're distracted, aren't you?
A little bit. And she's so charming, and she's got big guts. You know, she's not afraid to stand up to these animals. I love her.
Yeah. Well, but I just thought that was the weirdest thing that it veered off into talking about QAnon, which is not a thing. It's either Q, which is, you know, the entity, and then the Anons, who are the ones who talk about it and you know, spread it around. So you've got he doesn't understand that part of it, but he's bringing up Kash Patel.
I know.
And like admonishing Kash Patel for his opinions and what he believes and what he says to Pam Bondi, who's like, "Hey, what about me? I'm here for the Attorney General position. You want to focus on me there, sir?"
But just the way he frames QAnon, that fringe controlled disinformation stuff, like how he says QAnon is just about satanic demons who eat babies in the U.S. government, like really, that's the core belief of QAnon. I don't think he's got that right.
No, it's not.
It's like so stupid.
Right, but that's the go-to that they go to. As I repeating myself. But it was just a weird. I just found that odd.
Can't wait to get their teeth into
They
Kash
must be
Patel.
so afraid of Kash Patel
afraid.
that they can't even stop thinking about him. Because to bring him up like that a few times during this testimony is odd.
It's great.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's odd, but I mean, she would be his boss, I think. So technically, I think that's probably why they try to attach the two of them. It's like,
yeah,
you know.
Come on.
I guess, but it's a little weird. It's let me spend time talking about this guy.
She would be his boss.
I know, but save the questions for him. I mean, like, to me, I can see the hitless question, but these people are running for the hills. They know they've been criminals for so long, and they never had anyone to answer to.
Yeah.
It was 3 tiers of justice.
Anyhow, speaking of criminals, she also had to talk to Adam Schiff. Remember him? Well, he was talking about, investigations that they might be doing over at the Justice Department if she takes over. Here's cut number 3, talking about Liz Cheney, cut 3.
I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one has asked me to investigate Liz Cheney. That is a hypothetical.
The president has called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president
Liz.
has
We're
called,
also worried about Liz Cheney,
The
Senator.
president has
You know
called
what we
for
should
this.
be worried about?
Ms. Bondi,
the
please
crime rate
answer
in
my questions.
California right now
you are
is
aware,
through the roof.
Ms. Bondi,
Your robberies are 87% higher than the national
my question
average.
Is this.
That's what I want to be focused on, Senator.
Do you have the power to say no to the president?
Yeah.
Wow. This guy, man, you're telling me that's not a guy look like he's running for the hills? You're going to tell me this guy doesn't have picadillos in the closet he's afraid coming out? Please, this guy's a criminal and he knows he's got comeuppance to pay.
When she got done with him on the stream, I said, like 911, I'd like to report a murder. because she just, she slapped him around. That clip was part of it, but that doesn't even do it justice. She told him, you got censured for comments like this, pal.
Yeah.
She went on and on and on. She was taking no nonsense from any of them, including that moron from Hawaii. Attention, Hawaii.
Oh,
we got to do better.
Jesus.
We got to do better, Hawaii.
Bombed.
Than Mazie Hirono. Oh, my God. Mazie Hirono today was...
Was she more drunk or less drunk?
You know, it was actually... it gets to the point where it's actually somewhat enjoyable because it borders on comedy.
Oh, well,
that's how bad it... You know what I mean?
I didn't see it.
It's so bad that it actually becomes comedic. And I actually got a good chuckle. I actually got a real legitimate laugh out of Mazie Hirono today. I love when these morons start and they go, well, I have a 3-tier system here for approving nominees. Like who cares?
Nobody cares.
Who cares what your system is? Nobody cares if you have a system and what it is. I have 3 big questions I always ask you people to know if. Oh God. She went over this whole spiel, and then Bondi looked at her and she said, Senator, I'm not familiar with that. And she stopped, and Hirono goes, I just familiarized you with it. And I laughed so hard. I said, that's going to be my new line. I'm going to start using that on the show.
Damn, you got to mention that guy's super chat. He came bombing in and doing the right thing.
Who is that?
That guy.
Yeah, 17.
That guy?
There's one wacko in the show in the I'm getting trolled, I think. Anyway, oh
yeah, I saw, but you were getting hammered.
I know.
That guy, huh?
It happens to everybody, right?
Let me go. I think I saw it, but
someone said Paul's going to get honeypotted by
all right. Child of the King, I think I said, right? Child of the King, $20.25 super chat. Okay, Joe, here we go. Take 333, went over that. That guy, 1776. What's up, boys? God is great, and God bless America. May Trump get the cabinet he wants so that we can clean up the mess that the demon rats have made.
Yep.
Agreed. And he is going to get the cabinet he wants, every single damn one of them.
Especially when you think about it, I think aside from Kash Patel being a tough one, Hegseth was the one everybody was worried about, and he sailed through.
Oh, he sailed. He was so cool.
He killed it.
So cool.
It's like, is this the best you guys got? Is that it? Elizabeth Warren. I'm not a general.
I'm not familiar with that, Senator. I just familiarized you, she said.
Can you find that?
Oh, my God. I laughed so hard. I was like, that's a great line. I'm going to start using that on Delgado.
You got one read here.
Before,
and our guest at 9:30.
Who's the guest again?
We have a guest?
The home title lock.
James Finch.
James Finch, okay.
Okay, folks.
Fano Boss in the YouTube chat says, who's giving Paul a hard time? I think everybody gives Paul a hard time.
Yeah.
We all take turns.
like the blues. 17 past the hour. We talked to you about our friends over at the Wellness Company. It's a new day in America, new administration in Washington, D.C. There's a lot of excitement and optimism about the future, but the reality is there's still a lot of work to do, especially when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. The truth is that the forces that are responsible for breaking our healthcare system aren't going to simply go away. The challenges our system faces won't disappear overnight. Now more than ever, you need to be prepared, and that's, of course, where the Wellness Company comes in. You know the Wellness Company. Their doctors are medical professionals that you can trust, and their line of prescription medical kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy. Whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, the first aid kit, or the travel kit, these prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and a guidebook to assist in the proper use. From the flu to strep throat, from COVID to bird flu, from a trip to the beach or a trip overseas, whichever it is, the Wellness Company has a prescription kit designed to keep you and your family safe. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part, protect your health of you and your family. Go right now to twc.health/voice. That's www.twc.health/voice today and order one of these kits, whichever one's right for you. That's twc.health/voice. You can use promo code VOICE to save an additional 10%. All right, 18 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Glad you're in on a Wednesday night. More to do. Let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Use code LFS6B at checkout if you're going to shop at MyPillow for all the great stuff that Lindell has. Pillow sheets, mattress toppers, mattresses. Man, I heard the mattresses are really comfortable as well. So if you're in the market for a mattress, don't just be running to like Sleepy's or one of those joints. Go check out Mike Lindell, his mattresses, and use promo code LFS6B. And I think it saves you about 50% off the cost of the mattress. So, a
lot of coin.
Slick, what's going on?
All right, Big D. Well, Juju Davis in the YouTube chat says, how about some rodeo, Slick? Let's get some rodeo updates. So we have the Montana Pro Rodeo Circuit Finals at the Oh What a Night Four Seasons Arena in Montana. Great Falls, Montana, that would be. All-around cowboy was Bo Vacu. Picked up $4,000 for saddle bronc riding and bull riding. And bareback riding, third round went to Trayvon McAllister, 85 points on J.J. Barr's Miss Delta, 29-33 there. Steer wrestling, we had Bridger Chambers, 4.8 seconds. Team roping went to Brady Tryon and Calgary Smith, 4.7 seconds. Nice time there. Saddle bronc, Jesse Cruz, 86 points on JJ Barjay's Dirty Lizard. Tie down roping, we got Haven Maged, 7.6 seconds. Barrel racing, Ashley Day, 13 5/10. Excellent time there as well. Bull riding, third round, Jake Lockwood, 89 points on JJ Barr's Bucking Some Biak, 4,034. that win. $264,000 for $13. Big D was the payout on that one. So big bucks as well. You know, I knew something was up with this guy, and I was watching it all weekend with the Chargers. And sure enough, Jim Harbaugh, well, he's going to have cardiac ablation and hip replacement in the offseason. This is Chris Rim of ESPN. El Segundo, California. Los Angeles Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh said Wednesday that he will have a cardiac ablation this offseason and hip replacement surgery. I saw him hobbling off the field there during halftime. Harbaugh, 61, briefly left the Chargers game 6 against the Denver Broncos after a flare-up with atrial flutter, a type of arrhythmia that causes the heart to beat at an abnormally high rate. Harbaugh wore a heart monitor for 2 weeks during the season. Harbaugh went to the locker room where paramedics treated him. He had an electrocardiogram scan, and eventually they got his heart back to a normal rhythm. Harbaugh returned to the first quarter and coached the remainder of the game. Defensive coordinator Jesse Minter was the interim head coach while Harbaugh was out. In 2012, Harbaugh had his first flare-up. It came when he was coaching the Niners. As for his hip replacement, Harbaugh walks with a significant limp now because of his hip, which will be corrected with surgery. Harbaugh said previously that he wouldn't consider retiring because of his health issues. It would take my heart stopping for me not to be out there on the sideline, Harbaugh said in October. Take it from a man who had a hip replacement. It's a game changer. It's a life-changing thing to do. So that procedure future should go well for him. I do wish him well. I like Jim Harbaugh. I think he's doing great things with the Los Angeles Chargers. Fell a little short in the playoff game, a little bit of an upset there. They cost me a pick, too, because I really had them as a lock. But just the same, it was good stuff. So, all right, Big D, I'll get back to you at the last segment. That's a wrap in sports.
All right, Slick, very good. We'll do some more sports before we wrap up the show. Mr. Nolan is here. Mr. Nolan, what's been catching your attention?
Well, we talked about it when you were making coffee. I'm definitely not thrilled with some of the rift inside of BAGA. The chat was definitely conflicted. It was right down the middle. I think the entire audience feels how I do about Bannon. They love him. I mean, he's on top of everything when it comes to the geopolitical climate and all the machinations within. He sees it as well as anybody. He just did a recent interview where he talked about we're watching the modern version of technocratic neo-feudalism, and his breakdown of it was just perfect. And now with Musk doing so much to help Trump around, to see this rift between the two of them inside of MAGA, that has been a little bit disconcerting to me. And
what exactly is he taking? I have not heard. Vin brought this up to me last night as well, and he wasn't sure, how much he wanted to get into it. And I said, get into it. It doesn't matter. We're open to discussions here. What is actually his riff with Musk? Is it over H-1B visas?
Yeah, that's been a major part of it.
See, I'm with Steve on this.
I'm with Steve on that too. But there's no way these corporate animals are going to let go of cheap labor with big brains who are then essentially locked into a lifetime commitment with them. It's like indentured servitude.
But I think again, I have not heard why Musk is for the H-1B visas, right? Is that that position? And it seems like Trump is too, unfortunately. And that's why he brings up stapling green cards to every college, every Chinese national or whoever that graduates from a college here. He wants to staple green cards was the words he used.
I think it's fair to say there's a soft spot in the middle. I mean, if you're letting people barrel over the border, at least these people are coming over with some form of documentation and some kind of production. Now, if Trump goes ahead and creates tax-free crypto for U.S.-based cryptocurrencies that are based in America and bringing more technology here, and you need more people with great computer experience from India and whatnot, well, you're giving an opportunity to everyone. You're spreading that wealth. There's some value to it there. Now, when you couple that with an endless open border of criminals and lunatics and Chinese nationals and people who will use the system to sleeper cell us to our deaths and to our knees, well, God, no, that can't happen. So to me, I think the discussion is a little more nuanced than just saying, it's bad or good. H-1B bad, H-1B good. I don't think it falls there. Just like the tariff conversation, which is a long conversation of economics that has merit on both sides. In the short term, it's outstanding. In the long term, I think it's detrimental, but it's great to saber rattle your way into lowering the tariffs on our products, coming in as well and going out. So force them to spend more, then ours leaving are cheaper as well. So, I mean, it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. But as far as Bannon goes, for him to say Musk is evil, I don't know what good that does. What kind of axe he has to grind. I would love to get... Can we get him on the show this week?
I don't know if we can get him on this week. We can get him on, I'm sure. He starts his day pretty early, so it's tough coming at night, but...
I would love to speak to him.
Daniel Horowitz has written a lot about this. He says the foreign student worker pipeline is more disgusting of a scam than illegal immigration. Trump can and must shut it down from day one, and if he fails to do so, it will violate the core philosophy that he's claimed to represent for 9 years. Trump does not need Congress to suspend immigration. So his whole point in agreeing with Bannon is that if you think we need more immigration at this point, it's like a mental disease. You're not looking at the numbers on both the legal and obviously the illegal side.
It's been bastardized, so we'll talk about it after the break.
is.
What do we got? What do we got?
Yeah, but that's the same thing, though, really.
Chat.
She makes it sound better, but it's still the same thing.
Rumblers. Pencil neck is an insurrectionist and a traitor, according to Eurotransplant, and you are correct. Eurotransplant.
No. Nothing.
He's a D-bag. 11 Phantom in Rumble says Cash Patel's the most dangerous hearing for Democrats. It's not even scheduled yet. You're right. I was looking up the schedule, trying to find out when the Cash Patel is not scheduled yet. Linda McMahon isn't scheduled yet. Tulsi isn't scheduled yet. RFK Jr. is not scheduled yet. There's a bunch that still have to come. Elise Stefanik is not. Are we even pronouncing her name right now?
I believe we pronounce it right, but everybody else, I don't
Stefanik.
know. Yeah, Trump called her Stefanik, and someone else called her Stefanik.
Yeah, somebody else called her Stefanik. So maybe we're wrong.
I thought it was Stefanik.
That's what I thought. Kristi Noem is scheduled for Friday. Doug Collins is scheduled for January 21st, Tuesday.
When's Cash scheduled for?
Cash is not scheduled yet.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
That's gonna be fireworks.
Must see TV. I may even tune into.
Sean Duffy also went today.
D-Span. About to tune into D-Span one morning and see what's going on. Big D's got a big crowd down there. I have to come in there and crash that part.
5.5 hours today.
Wow.
They had a bunch. They had a bunch of hearings today.
During the day.
Ratcliffe.
Were you on Kevin Downey Jr.'s radio show?
I did. I jumped on his show. I happened to be down there today because I'm just hanging out in the airport corridors looking for
I got a bunch of luggage. I had a bunch of people tell me that.
Yes, actually, in the YouTube, one of the YouTubes, there's Staff Sergeant Arby. He sent a message into Kevin. I was there because JetBlue had a launch today they're doing direct flights to Boston. Yeah, which is nice. Up at Logan, it's great for international connections. So I went down because in support of the town. I'm vice president of another organization that does stuff with the town in the airport, MacArthur Business Alliance, MacArthur Airport. So I was there, and of course I saw KDJ, and I go, watch this. I'm going to go on the radio. Sure enough, I jumped on the radio. Kevin was like, come on in, it's slick. He was great. He was crushing commies and shooting zombies, but he was having a good show there. 103.9 it was good station, and Kevin's got a great show in the morning. He's fire, and number of people were chiming in. The Twins, a couple other ones from the YouTube chat and Getter chat were coming out. Somebody said I should start my own suit line. I'm like, oh boy, that'd be a rough one, but.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night. Slick's here doing sports. Delgado's going to do some more news. Paul Nolan's got news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. A lot more to get to. We got CPI this morning. We'll get into talking about that. Whoops. Inflation is, not going away, and it's not coming down. It's actually going up right now. Core came down a little bit, but we'll talk a little bit about CPI. But right now, please welcome to the show James Finch. He's a leader in information security with extensive experience, including serving as the former assistant director of the FBI and head of the FBI's cyber division. He brings a wealth of expertise to his role now at and with Home Title Lock. Mr. Finch, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's wonderful to have you. I want to ask you, in the context of real estate transactions, and we've been talking about this on the show before, what role do digital technologies play in mitigating or exasperating the risk of title fraud?
So basically, the role the digital media plays, it makes it easier for the bad guy because he can just download your home's title from the county clerk's office and in some cases actually submit a forged document called a quitclaim deed, submit that digitally, and transfer your home's title out of your name into his name or a name of his choosing. And in essence, he has stolen your home.
I mean, when you hear it explained like that, it seems like it's just like, how can this be happening in this day and age with technology the way it is in this country? But is the fact that public records and these kind of things are so easily accessible, does that actually, feed into what makes it so easy to pull this off?
Well, most people don't realize their home's title is publicly accessible information. So anyone can go to the county clerk's office and download your home's title. That is the result of the Freedom of Information Act. So the Open Records Act.
So are there any advancements in technology or like in cyber tools or techniques that are facilitating and helping these criminals to be able to do this, like these phishing emails and things like that? What's the easiest or most dangerous that the public, just the regular Joe, public guy who's going through his email every day and sees something and says, which one's the most dangerous of all the ones that they're using now?
Well, I would say the phishing is the most dangerous because AI has made phishing emails look so real. They can take the original logo of a legitimate company and put it into an email. And for all practical purposes and intent, it is that company's email to the reader. And they won't know, they're not going to that company's website until it's too late.
Now, are there any emerging trends or emerging software that individuals or companies should be aware of to be guarding against this? What should people be doing?
Well, what people should be doing when it comes to their home's title, because the only way to guard against a bad guy using digital means or just the brick and mortar method is to monitor your home's title 24/7, because early notification that someone has made changes to your home's title is the only way to really thwart this crime.
And so could you give the listeners just a quick overview of what Home Title Lock, somebody comes to Home Title Lock and says, I want this protection. This scares me that my home title is out there and accessible. What can they expect? What's the level of comfort they should have when they engage with a company like Home Title Lock?
The level of comfort they should have is great because Home Title Lock has what's known as their triple lock protection. And the first lock of that triple lock protection provides 24/7 monitoring of the home's title. That means your title is constantly monitored. The second lock of that triple lock protection is if any change, the smallest of change to your home's title is made, you, the homeowner, are alerted immediately. And Home Title Lock's alerted. At that point, you verify, as the homeowner, you verify whether that change is one you authorized or not. And if it's not, you advise Home Title Lock. And at that point, the third lock of that triple lock protection goes into effect, and that is restoration. Home Title Lock's U.S.-based title restoration team springs into action to restore your home's title back into your good name.
Yeah, and that early detection, I think, is the whole ball game, because a lot of this, once it gets a little bit down the road, boy, it's hard to reverse it. So that early detection and protection is really the key to it all, right?
It most certainly is, because if you want to interrupt the bad guy's crime, early detection is the way to do it. Otherwise, without this service, the homeowner will find out 60 to 90 days later. And that's when either the county sheriff or a representative of the bank comes knocking on the door and most likely saying you're being evicted for failure to pay the loans that the bad guy has taken out on your home.
Yeah. We've been speaking with James Finch. He's a cybersecurity expert. And, of course, you can go to HomeTitleLock.com/6B, HomeTitleLock.com/6B. Use promo code 6B at checkout as well. HomeTitleLock.com/Studio6B. Excuse me, I had that wrong. It's Studio 6B. The promo code is 6B. HomeTitleLock.com/Studio 6B. Mr. Finch, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so very much.
Damon, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Anytime. It was our pleasure. James Finch, cybersecurity expert from Home Title Lock. And again, go to HomeTitleLock.com/Studio6B, and you can use promo code 6B at checkout. Isn't that what I said? Studio 6B? Oh, the promo code is Studio 6B as well? Okay, there you go. So I have it all wrong. Let me say it again. HomeTitleLock.com/Studio6B and promo code Studio6B as well.
Way to lock it down.
Lock it down, Big D. Lock it down, Big D. All right, 37 past the hour, live from Studio 6B.
You sure?
I think it is.
All right.
Let's do the news. And here with the news is Rick Delgado. What's going on?
All right. Well, do you want to do more of these clips from Pam Bondi? Because we had a couple left over I'd love to get to.
The shift one was...
Well, if you'd love to get to them, then let's get to them.
Sure, let's do that.
You do the news, not me.
All right. Well, continuing on with the
what you love, I love, Delgado.
Oh.
Are you familiar with that?
Thank you for familiarizing me with it. Now you have to find that clip and play it. Play it for us before the end of the show.
All right, let me try to find it.
Jargus Hunter with a super chat.
Who else had hearings today? There were a bunch of hearings on the Hill. John Ratcliffe, as I mentioned, Marco Rubio, Chris Wright for Secretary of Energy. Also, Sean Duffy was having his hearing as Secretary of Transportation. But Pam Bondi, of course, got all the attention today, especially from Adam Schiff. She goes back and forth with him a few times. Here's cut number 5, where she takes on Adam Schiff, talking about pardons and brings up a little something from his own past. Cut 5.
Will it be your advice to the president? No, Mr. President, I need to go over them on a case-by-case basis. Do not issue blanket pardons. Will that be your advice to the president?
Senator, I have not looked at any of those files. If confirmed, I will look at the files
and
for
will
the
you be able to
pardons, as well
will
as
you
the
be able to
ongoing
review
investigation.
hundreds of cases on day one?
I will look at every file I am asked to look at.
Of course you won't. So will you advise the president?
Can I answer the question?
Well, my question
I would
is,
have plenty of staff. You said, of course you want.
You'll be able to review
Listen,
hundreds
I'm
of
not going to
cases on the first
mislead
day?
this body nor you.
All right, let me ask another question. You don't want to answer that. Let me answer
You were
another question.
censured by
It will
Congress,
also-
Senator, for
it will
comments just
also-
like this that
it
are
will
so
also-
So I'm talking about. She's got
Clean up on aisle 6, please.
She's fine.
911.
Good for her.
quick on her feet
She's
and
not.
fearless.
She's
That's
not
what we
taking
need.
any of his guff. She goes at him here at cut number 4 as well as they talk about Jack Smith. Cut 4.
The president has said Jack Smith should go to jail. Will you investigate Jack Smith?
Senator, I haven't seen the file. I haven't seen the investigation. I haven't looked at anything. It would be irresponsible of me to make a commitment regarding anything without, you're a long practicing attorney, without looking at a file.
So you would need a factual predicate to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
Not a summary by you sitting here. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Again, taking it right to Adam Shifty Shift, the biggest criminal probably on the Hill, at least that purports himself to be somebody in the know, always on TV talking about all this evidence he has, but never sharing it with anyone.
She's fierce, and that's not a DEI hire right there.
Exactly. Here she is taking on Senator Whitehouse, talking about prosecuting lawyers. This is cut number 6. Again, Pam Bondi, not saving anything for anyone else. Taking it on with Senator Whitehouse here, cut 6.
Who have said that Department of Justice prosecutors will be prosecuted in the Trump administration. What Department of Justice prosecutors will be prosecuted and why?
I said that on TV. I said prosecutors will be prosecuted, to finish the quote, if bad. Investigators will be investigated. You know, we all take an oath, Senator, to uphold the law. None of us are above the law. Let me give you a really good example of a bad lawyer within the Justice Department, a guy named Klein Smith, who altered a FISA warrant, one of the most important things we can do in this country. So will everyone be held to an equal, fair system of justice if I am the next Attorney General? Absolutely. And no one is above the law.
Yeah. Well, there she is taking on Senator Whitehouse. A final one from her, taking on Senator Padilla. This is cut number 2. She really lays into him, too. She basically, there was cleanups on every aisle of this store going on today.
Fierce.
Yeah. Cut number 2, Pam Bondi. Check this out.
Today, after I gave an opportunity to study overnight. So can you tell me in this committee what the citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you. If I am confirmed as
You're the
Attorney
one
General,
asking for a confirmation
hey,
vote,
you
ma'am.
cut me off. Can I please finish?
What does the 14th Amendment say?
Senator, the 14th Amendment, we all know, addresses birthright citizenship. I've been a state prosecutor. I've been a state AG. I look forward to, even given your remarks today, working with you and the people of California if I am confirmed as the 87th Attorney General of the United States of America. I didn't take your homework assignment. I'm sorry. I was preparing for today.
There you go. And again.
You creep. You creep. That's what he is.
Just lowering the boom on the Democrats today. Pam Bondi, everybody, your next Attorney General.
All right, we'll watch Mazie Hirono in the break, so if you're with us on socials, hang on. I'm going to familiarize you with her questioning today. Put my screen up.
Mr. Chairman, as part of my responsibility to ensure the fitness of all nominees, I ask the following 2 initial questions. First, since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator.
Ms. Bondi, I am focused on 2 things in my evaluation of President-elect Trump's nominees. The first is whether the nominee is qualified and experienced enough to do the job. The second is a fitness to serve, which includes putting loyalty to the Constitution over loyalty to the president. Unfortunately, in my view, many of President-elect Trump's nominees are lacking in at least one of these 2 requirements. Ms. Bondi, your experience as a prosecutor is the kind of thing we would expect to see in a nominee for Attorney General, but I do have questions and concerns about potential conflicts of interest, about whether you will keep DOJ's law enforcement responsibilities independent of the president's political whims, and about whether you will let facts and evidence guide your decisions. So let's start with the importance of facts, which you say is important.
I feel as drunk as she is.
Ms. Bondi, we want an Attorney General who bases decisions on facts. So I want to ask you a factual question. Who won the 2020 presidential election?
Joe Biden is the President of the United States.
Ms. Bondi, you know that there is a difference between acknowledging it and, I can say that Donald Trump won the 2024 election. I may not like it, but I can say it. You cannot say who won the 2020 presidential election. Okay. It's disturbing that you can't
She's terrible at this.
I'm sorry.
give voice to that fact. Moving on to DOJ's independence, Trump politics.
Good one.
Ms. Bondi, if you are confirmed as Attorney General, you will take an oath to the Constitution and not to any individual, including the President. To start, I'd like to know whether you agree with some of the statements President-elect Trump made during the election. during the campaign. First, are the felons convicted of breaking into the Capitol on January 6th hostages or patriots, according to Trump?
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B.
What a mess.
Live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice, and of course 103.9 LI News Radio. Slick's doing sports, Delgado's doing news, Paul Nolan's doing some news as well, Aaron and Fran holding it down. We were just watching a little bit of Senator Mazie Hirono's questioning of Pam Bondi, which was just absolute comical gold. I mean, just comical gold in her ineffectiveness, but yet her comedic... I don't know. I don't know how do you describe it?
SNL skit.
It's terrible, but it's like so terrible.
It was a parody.
That it's like parody, right? It's like funny.
It's almost like the ugliest dog you've ever seen becomes very cute.
Yeah.
You know? It's one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, it's to the it's honestly to the point where it's like you see a dog get hit by a car and you want to help it, but don't me. You want to help it so bad, but you can't. But you can't. She is road pizza. She's useless.
Whoa, that was strong.
You say
with pineapple on top.
How in God's name does she keep getting elected?
Jargus Hunter with a $10 super chat. Rick, can you give a shout out to the Jargus Hunters? I'm an LSU Patriot from the Getter chat. Love you guys. Still waiting on Damon to take you guys to the Sphere. Stop acting like a Democrat, Damon. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm doing that, but John Q. Public, $5 super chat. Do you guys think that President Trump will make national constitutional carry an executive order, not reciprocity? Well, I know he's talked about it. I think the legislation has actually been introduced. So I don't think he'll have to do it executive order because I think it's been introduced. So it's really going to be up to your Republicans to get it through. So, all right, let's do, what do we got here? Let's do some sports. It's the last segment of the show.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Slick, give me a little more sports. We'll wrap it up here.
All right, one more sweep of the scoreboard, Big D. Tennessee 61-45 over Georgia. Right now, 6 to go there in the second half. Also, second half, Houston taking care of business against West Virginia. 69-51, 3 to go there. Florida State 24-16 over Pitt. 3 to go there. And earlier tonight, Iowa State took care of business. Number 2, Iowa State. They toppled Kansas 74-57. Michigan State over Penn State 90-55. NHL tied at 2. End of 1. Oilers and Wild in Minnesota. And then we have the Hurricanes who fell to the Sabres tonight 4-2 up in Buffalo, another Stowe City. That was the final. And then NBA action. Good one back and forth. The Knicks in overtime do defeat the Sixers 125-119. Big win for the Knicks who continue to roll. And the Pelicans over the Mavs right now. Well, I check that. Mavs over the Pelicans 93-89. One real super quick story, Big D. Penguins Evgeny Malkin's home burglarized, Stanley Cup rings stolen. Dylan Gwynn of Breitbart. The homes of professional athletes, it's happened a lot now, have become the target of a recent burglary spree that has hit players from the NFL, NBA, and now the NHL. Evgeny Malkin, the longtime star and Stanley Cup champion center for the Pittsburgh Penguins, was burglarized on January 11th at his home in Sewickley, Pennsylvania, while playing a game in Pittsburgh, TMZ Sports reports. According to TMZ Sports, the security system at Malkin's home was not functioning during the break-in. All 3 of Malkin's Stanley Cup rings were stolen. No arrests at this time of writing. Boy, I sure hope he finds those. I mean, where are you going to pawn off Stanley Cup rings?
I just don't get, if you make $50 million a year or $10 million a year or $3 million a year playing professional sports, when you go on the road and you live by yourself, how about spend a couple $1,000s and just have 24/7 security around your house if you've got. I don't get this.
Right, have a guy sit in your house or have a guy in the car. You know, I mean, come on. I mean, that kind of money, you're right, absolutely. So, and that's a wrap in sports, Big D. Back to you. I have to go.
All right, Slick. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. Paulie, any other news that's caught your attention here before we wrap it up with Delgado's news?
You know, you guys kind of covered most of it. I was happy to see the FDA banned red dye number 3 today. I mean, it's been linked to cancer. It's been linked to autism. And let's hope this is a precursor to...
Is this the RFK Jr. effect, you think?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, this stuff
they were talking about this. And all of a sudden, they're like, oh, let's do it quick.
Yeah. This is
right?
poison. I mean, this is the fact that this is one of the few countries that allows these processed poisons into our food and medicine. But it's still funny. The FDA says the food companies could leave it till 2027 and medicine companies could leave it to 2028. Does that mean they have 12 billion gallons, vats of NyQuil? So that they're going to just, they get to finish it off. So, it is a little something. You covered the news I was looking at before, but the clips to me, they're comedic gold, watching the leftist lunatics get owned. I just love it.
All right, $5 super chat on YouTube. Mark Gibbs, Hirono's one of 100 of our highest legislatures. Yeah, I mean, it just shows you.
Unbelievable.
And if all else fails, you can be a U.S. senator from Hawaii because the bar there is not set too high.
She's not fit to flip burgers. I mean, let's be honest. You really think if she worked for you in a family burger joint, she'd be capable of waiting?
I mean,
would she be capable of waiting a table?
No, I wouldn't.
No.
I mean, no.
No way.
She would totally get your order wrong, right? She'd take the order. She'd totally get it wrong. She's a disaster. You could tell. She's just a disaster.
I mean, she's
in every
the
way.
most ineffective.
Maybe that's why
everything.
Maybe that's why they ship her off of Hawaii. It's like, you know what? You're a disaster. Even her family's like, go to the mainland. Go do something else.
Disgrace.
Jargus now says, Rick and Delgado, why don't you guys go to the Sphere and leave Damon at home? He'll only complain the entire time anyways. What do you think of that, Slick?
Nah, I want you to come. What are you kidding? You're a riot.
Yeah, don't leave him here.
No, it's the real deal.
I gotta have Big D there.
So you guys just judge what you see on TV.
Hold on.
See Slick right there? Slick.
See, Slick is...
That's my boy right there.
There's a flaw here. He would never leave the casino. He's not going to a concert venue. You're never getting him out of the sports book or the blackjack table.
Damon Trump's over here. He's waiting for you. I can't make it.
It's a trick question.
He'd be like, hey, Slick, here's a chip. Go get some Gucci loafers.
That's the best part.
Damon Trump's coming to the room for buffet. You want to join us? No, sorry. Sorry, 3-card coming in.
He's going to have
having a babysitter. You just put him in front of the blackjack table and let him go.
I don't play blackjack. I hate blackjack. I'll never play 6 or 8 deck blackjack in a casino. It's
that's a losing game.
Without a doubt.
Single double deck dealt from the dealer. Now I'm in.
I missed the old horseshoe club.
I lost my sequence on that
dealer
game.
Had to.
Yeah, the rules are.
I've seen this guy have a
right
pizza
rules.
delivered to the sports book. He ain't getting up. He ain't getting up. He ain't leaving.
Point. All right, Delgado, what's left in the news?
All right, the last thing I have is maybe a little salute to all the firefighters out on the West Coast in California doing what they can to try and put these fires out. Check out some of these insane firefighting skills from the sky. Look at this.
Oh,
these guys just diving and swooping in and pouring this stuff. This is about a minute long. Check out some of these shots.
I mean, you see the plane that picks up the water from the ocean
Yeah, it's fantastic.
it's so insane.
How big are your, to go in and scoop that water? These people are amazing.
They look like,
look at this. Watch this.
Vietnam
right up
pilots.
against the side there.
How close they are, the skill level.
Oh, man.
Warriors.
So helicopters, too, boy. It's dangerous, man.
You're going to tell me you wouldn't rather have one of these guys in Congress than Maisie Wacko?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So, yeah, just a big hat tip to these guys, to all the firefighters, everybody out there doing what they can, considering the 8-ball they were put behind by the people in charge to fight these fires on the West Coast. Look at this.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Just fantastic.
And they don't get enough rest. I mean, this is a 24/7 gig right now. Trying to put these fires out.
Crazy. John Q. Public says, I heard gambling is a losing proposition, no? Or a fool's, what did he say? I lost the clip now, but...
Well,
I don't know if I subscribe to that.
Well, you kind of familiarized us with it a little bit.
If you didn't see Hirono, the whole thing, you really should watch it, because if you need a good laugh, that's the way to do it. So... I'll be back tomorrow morning. Who's on tomorrow, you said?
Tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's Thursday. Doug Burgum is supposed to be...
not covering that.
Lee Zeldin, Director of Environmental Protection. He's up, and Scott Turner as well.
I want to see Lee.
For Housing and Urban Development.
My old buddy.
All right, we'll see. I may be on with Zeldin.
Of course.
Burgum, absolutely only want him to get the job, so I have no interest in that. So.
Scott Besant.
Besant Treasury. You might watch that. All right, as always, we salute our military, active and active police, firefighters, first responders, all emergency personnel, all our truckers, all our farmers, all our helicopter.
Thank you, everyone.
operators, everybody fighting these fires. Thanks, guys, on the show. Aaron, Fran, great job as always. Most of all, thank you, the live from Studio 6B audience. And I want to thank everybody listening on 103.9 LI News Radio. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here, live from Studio 6B.